Hey there, API developers, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to show you how to take your ASP.NET API and transform it into an OpenAPI specification. As a bonus, I'll also show you how you can then take that OpenAPI specification and transform it into a client library for many major programming languages such as C Sharp, TypeScript, Java, Go, PHP, and others. Let's get into it. First, I'll start with a basic C# application and add the .NET Open API package. This wonderful package will take my API endpoints and some annotations that I provide and produce an Open API specification that stays in sync with my API. Next, I'll need to edit the main program.cs file and then any files that represent my controllers. So let's open the program.cs file and add OpenAPI services to the App Builder service collection. Here I'll also specify some high-level details about the API, such as its name, version, and description of what it does. Then I'll tell the app to map the endpoints by calling app.mapOpenAPI. And now let's annotate the endpoints. This project is simple and only has a single /hello endpoint that responds with a welcome message. I'll open the controllers file that contains the hello endpoint and add some annotations. This includes information like human readable summaries, descriptions, and code examples, as well as request and response formats. Real projects will, of course, be much more complex, but annotation can be done incrementally. LLMs like Google Gemini or ChatGPT can also significantly expedite the process of documenting your endpoints, especially if you focus on annotating in sections and testing your OpenAPI specification as you go. Remember, you just need to invest this effort once to create a lasting OpenAPI document for your project that is then ingestible into a wide range of tools. I'll include some links down below to various tooling that your OpenAPI spec enables, as well as detailed documentation on all the various options you have for annotating your endpoints with OpenAPI. Now, let's try using the OpenAPI specification and automatically generate an SDK for our users so they can use it rather than making raw API calls. I'll start the ASP.NET app in a new terminal and detach it. Then I'll make a new project directory, download the OpenAPI spec from that server we just started, and as you'll see here, all the information we annotated earlier can be seen in the OpenAPI spec, along with a whole bunch of information that was automatically derived from the project. And initialize it by running Liblab init and passing in the URL to my OpenAPI spec. I'll select Python, but you have the option to build SDKs for many other languages as well, including C Sharp. Essentially, no matter what stack you've built your API on, you can easily provide SDKs in the languages that your users need. Then I'll name my project. Let's call it hello-aspnet-sdk, and I'll select the GPL license. I'll get prompted to build the project, but I'll say no since I first need to set the base URL, which I'll point to my local server. Now, to create the SDK, I'll just run liblab build. The build process is going to validate the OpenAPI spec and then start building the SDKs. It takes just a few seconds. Let's look at the output directory where we can see the generated client library. This Python library here is fully built and ready for me to deploy to PyPy, but for the time being, I'll just navigate to the example directory and use it locally. I'll copy over a small bit of sample code I wrote earlier to show the specific /hello endpoint, and you can see it here. I already started the server earlier, so now we'll just need to run install.sh to install the SDK into this example project. Then I'll activate a virtual environment, which is pretty typical for Python projects. And finally, I'll run the sample script to make the request. And there we go. We've got the response we expected, and every user of this library will have type completion and documentation as well. And that's really all there is to it. ASP.NET makes it super easy to document and generate an OpenAPI spec, and you can then take that spec and use it in tooling like Liblab and many other tools out there to benefit your users and your own API development. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the links down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.